All right, let's dive right in. GitHub just held its big Universe conference, and honestly, they didn't just roll out a few new features. They basically unveiled a whole new vision for AI. We're talking about a huge shift, moving from a simple assistant to a proactive agent. And trust me, this is going to change, well, pretty much everything. So let's break down what this actually means for all of us.
Okay, just think about this for a second. What if, instead of you asking an AI for, a little piece of code, you could just hand it a whole complex issue, and it just takes it, it plans the work, writes the code, runs the tests, and hey, even fixes its own bugs. That's not science fiction anymore. That's the core idea behind everything GitHub just announced.
So here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to look at the new mission control for AI. Then we'll see how Copilot is escaping the code editor. After that, we'll dive into some new AI strategy tools right inside VS Code. We'll also cover how big companies can manage all this power. And to wrap it all up, we'll take a quick peek at some numbers from the State of the Octaverse report. All right, let's kick things off with what feels like the most futuristic part of the whole announcement, GitHub Agents. Seriously, this is where the idea of an AI workforce stops being a concept and starts getting real.
So what exactly is an agent? Well, first off, it's not just glorified autocomplete, not even close. Think of it more like an actual AI teammate. You can give it an entire task, a real problem to solve. It understands context, it can use different tools, and it can tackle things that take multiple steps. This is a totally different way of thinking about AI in our workflow.
Okay, so if you've got this new AI workforce, how do you manage it all? That's where Agent HQ comes into play. GitHub is literally calling it a mission control center. It's the one central spot where you can direct and orchestrate all your different agents, no matter what they're doing.
And the workflow itself? It's actually pretty straightforward. It's basically a four-step dance. First, you assign the task. Then, you can steer the agent in real time if it needs a little nudge. You track everything it's doing from one single view. And finally, you review and approve the final work. The key thing here is that the developer is still in the driver's seat, but the role, it's changing. It's becoming more like a manager or maybe even the conductor of an AI orchestra.
Now, this is where it gets really powerful. This isn't some lockdown, one-size-fits-all system. No way. The real magic is that you can build your own agents. You can customize them with specific prompts, hook them up to your internal tools, and feed them all the unique context about your team and your code base. So you could totally build an agent that's an expert at, say, migrating your company's old legacy APIs. That's a game changer.
Okay, so this whole agent idea isn't just some new separate thing. They're actually baking this intelligence right into the Copilot we all know and use. And that means Copilot is about to break out of the code editor and show up, well, pretty much everywhere.
And this is a massive quality of life improvement. You're going to be able to assign tasks to Copilot right from inside the tools you're already using every day, like Slack, Teams, Linear, you name it. Just picture this. You're in a Slack thread, you figure out what needs to be done, and boom, you just assign it to Copilot right there, and it already has the entire conversation for context. No more copy-pasting.
And it's not just about writing new stuff either. Copilot is becoming an absolute beast when it comes to code review. By mashing up its AI smarts with the CodeQL security engine, it can basically become a security agent right inside your pull requests. It doesn't just say, hey, there's a problem here. No, it finds the security hole, figures out the fix, and can apply it for you. For anyone in DevSecOps, this is huge.
All right, so we've talked about the big picture management and how this stuff plugs into our workflows. But now, let's get down to where the rubber meets the road, right inside VS Code. This is where AI stops being just a tool and starts becoming a real strategic partner.
You know, the old way was always code first, ask questions later. We just dive in and start writing. Well, that's changing. There's a new plan mode in VS Code, and it totally flips the script. The idea is to collaborate with the AI first. You work together to map out a solid step-by-step plan, thinking through all the tricky parts and edge cases before you even write a single line of code.
But wait, how do you keep these powerful agents from going rogue and messing up your team's coding standards? It's actually super simple. You create a markdown file called agents.md. In there, you just lay out all your project's rules and guidelines, and any agent that works on that project has to follow those rules. It's basically a style guide, but for your AI teammates.
Okay, this all sounds amazing for individual developers or small teams. But what happens when you're a huge company with thousands of developers? How do you manage all of this?
Let's talk about how GitHub is tackling governance for the enterprise.
If you're a leader trying to figure out if this whole AI thing is actually paying off, this is for you. There's a new Copilot metrics dashboard that gives you the complete lowdown on what's happening across your whole organization. You can see who's actually using it, what features they love, and even start to measure the real impact it's having on productivity.
But it's not just about seeing the numbers, it's about having control. Enterprises are getting a whole suite of governance tools. You can centrally manage all those custom agents we talked about. You can audit what they're doing, who has access, and set super specific security policies like this agent can touch this server, but not that one. In a world with powerful AI agents, this kind of control is absolutely essential for security and compliance.
And to go along with that, there's also a new feature called GitHub Code Quality. Think of it as another dashboard for leaders that gives you that 30,000-foot view of the health of your entire code base. It helps you keep an eye on things like maintainability, reliability, and test coverage across all your different projects.
So we've been talking a lot about these futuristic new tools, but what's the world they're actually coming into? Let's take a step back and ground ourselves in today's reality with a few key numbers from GitHub's annual State of the Octoverse report.
So yeah, AI is changing how we write code, but the report reminds us what we're writing. And no big surprises here, JavaScript is still king of the hill. Python is holding down that number 2 spot, which makes sense with all the AI and data science work happening. And look at TypeScript, cementing its place in the top 3. That really points to a bigger trend towards type-safe code, which, by the way, is the perfect playground for these new super precise AI agents to work their magic.
So if you're going to remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. AI is evolving. It's going from a passive copilot that just waits for you to type something to an active agent that you can actually delegate work to. It's not just a tool in your toolbox anymore, it's becoming a collaborator on your team.
And this quote from the announcement really just says it all, doesn't it? A single, unified workflow for developers to be able to orchestrate any agent, anytime, anywhere. That really shows you how big they're thinking. They're not just building features, they're building an entire platform for a future where we as developers are orchestrating whole teams of AI agents.
And all of this leaves us with one huge, lingering question. If AI is the agent that's writing, testing, and even fixing the code, then what's our new role? What does the job of a human developer become? Are we the architects, the strategists, the managers of these AI agents? I don't have the answer, but that's the conversation that we all need to start having right now.